Hello, Mr. Albert. Yes, sir.
Eh,
Today we
Hello.
have hello to our global audience with the amazing, charming, eclectic, and energetic United States retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, Mr. Albert. Yes, sir. What is the surprise for our global audience, please? What we are discussing
Well,
today?
I've got several companies interested in making a movie out of my Lightning and Thunder.
Hmm.
It's pretty easy because basically there's two actors, my wife and myself,
Oh, that's
uh,
amazing. Uh-huh.
and there's discussions by one company of using three different uh, sets of people. One for younger when we first married, and one for middle age, and then another couple for older people. And I don't know how that'll work out, but they're running. They'd be doing the movie.
So,
So,
so which
uh,
companies we are expecting a movie from you? Which production houses actually? Any few big names?
uh, yeah, that company is Shondaland
Oh, that's
that
amazing.
produced uh, Grey's Anatomy on television. It's what they're
Oh,
known for, but a whole
uh-huh,
bunch of other shows.
uh-huh,
Uh, Mainly TV shows is what they're
sure,
famous for.
uh-huh.
But they're wanting to do a movie on Lightning and Thunder.
Oh, that's
And then I've
amazing.
got the potential for MGM Europe to do a French language version of the movie.
Okay,
And I haven't talked to them very much. I've talked to the proposed director, but there's no contract yet.
okay,
And she may and may not be the director. But
mm-hmm,
anyway, we've talked just on the book. We haven't talked about money or anything like that. Just
okay,
she wanted to know more about me personally and some stories about in the book that she's
uh-huh,
read the book
okay,
and wanted to know some more details on a couple of the stories in the book
mm-hmm,
and wanted to know. She called one time, just wanted to know what it was really like to be with my wife. What was she like as a person, regard separate from the book.
mm-hmm.
And then, of course, my Ancient Destiny science fiction series. I've had a lot of interest in it, but nobody's come forward yet. Uh,
Okay,
Again, I've had verbal offers for lots and lots of money, but but just like everything else, no contract.
uh-huh.
Uh, but they were offering me a really sweet deal of $24 million for the four-book series,
Oh, that's
and
amazing. Uh-huh.
that was a major movie company here in the United States,
That's
and
great. Mm-hmm.
start off with a $1.2 million signing fee, another 1.2 million when they got ready to make the movie, and as
Sure.
soon as they started filming the movie, 24 million.
That's great. That's incredible. Yeah.
And it got so far as to say they'd be sending one of their private airplanes to pick me up and take me out to California to sign the contract in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's
Well,
good.
that was supposed to be in April. It's now July. I'm still waiting for that airplane.
Uh-huh.
So
You know,
I have no
maybe
idea
the
what's
maybe
going on.
maybe the airplane was migrated and transported in the war.
Right. And in the last few weeks, I've had at least five different companies want to talk to me about my World War III book.
Sure.
And they started talking to me before the Israeli is Iran dust up.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so this was a couple. They started calling me a couple of months ago and wanting
Okay.
to know more about the World War III book because it
I mean,
sounded
tell our
intriguing.
audience, tell our audience that because already I have read your book for your World War III. Tell our audience the special part of the intel which you have written way back in 1980 when you established, and in 2025 the world witnessed what you have already predicted in 1980. That is the beautiful part of this story. Tell our audience, please, that climax, how the ceasefire got established. Please tell our audience your take. Yeah.
Well, in 1987, as I was writing the book, uh, the United States had been pretty well taken out of everything because of an EMP attack. Uh,
Okay.
and as we were getting things back together, we invented drones. So
Okay.
uh, I invented drones for my book, which we didn't have back then,
Okay.
and they operate pretty much like our drones do today, using GPS to fly to the area of the battle, and then they're taken over by human control with televisions and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
radar, infrared sensors on the drone,
Hmm.
and the drone is fully stealthy until it gets to the battlefield, and then the nose cone comes off and is just basically discarded. And that, of course, destroys its invisibility. But
Uh-huh.
it's kind of hard to be invisible when you're fired a Gatling gun.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where each of the 30 millimeter shells are taken out of tanks. It's
Uh,
kind of hard to be stealthy when you're doing that. So anyway,
exactly.
the nose cone is ejected,
Uh-huh.
and then it does its battle thing. And if it runs low of ammunition or gets damaged where it can't fly home, it'll just become a suicide bomber. Because hey, it's a lot cheaper. It doesn't have a pilot. Uh,
Ah,
it's it can a an airplane with a pilot can
uh,
pull, depending on the airplane and how it's designed, it can pull up to 12 Gs. But
okay.
that's the limit of what a human can do, even in a reclined seat.
Oh, in
Uh,
a reclined seat. That's we would love to know more about it with the reclined seat part.
yeah, well, we have airplanes to do that, but
Uh,
where the pilot sets the reclined seat so he can pull more G's because
uh-huh.
the blood doesn't necessarily drain from his brain when he pulls G's because
Okay.
he's basically laying down.
Uh-huh.
So, but a drone, hey, you can build one that'll pull 30 G's. So
Okay.
there's no human airplane that can even begin to turn with it.
Exactly. I mean, this
Uh,
is the time.
and 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 of course it's much smaller because you don't have any oxygen system. You have radios,
Mhm.
but you don't have to have a human operator for those radios. Everything's operated by computer or remotely operated. So and you don't have to have oxygen because hey,
Being in the logistics in the nuclear facility for United States Air Force and the United States Army, of course, what exactly is what strikes you way back in 1980, which you have jotted down in your diary down all the words, and in 2025, whole world witness what United States is basically capable of. How do you predicted that? What is strike? So world wants to know that, sir. You are treasure,
uh,
please.
it made sense to me.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, for starting about 1986, 1987, somewhere in that time frame,
sure.
part of my job was to go out to various different research and development programs
Mm-hmm.
and develop a 20 or 30-year schedule for developing a new system.
Okay.
Uh, and I also had the opportunity to look at almost every dream that somebody came up with of a new weapon system. So I
Okay.
reviewed them, and if they were totally impossible, in our with our current technology, I would say I just stamp it disapproved. And if it had, uh, a possibility of producing in 20 or 30 years,
Here.
I just recommend we take another look at this, a closer look at it.
Uh-huh.
And if they decided to fund the program, then I would go out and help develop a 20 or 30-year program for the research and development and eventually delivery
Mhm.
of the systems. And the drone just seems like, gee, that sounded like a good thing to me. That was my own idea.
Exactly. So I mean
So
this is the beautiful part where you use the technology and you have diary down way back in 90, and today world is now buying in the form of World War III with starting with EMP. So tell our audience what do you think, what is the turning point of your World War III from all the thrilling in the book to towards the romantic love story? Like lightning and thunder. What strikes you to turn all 360 way back? You maneuvering. See, you
well,
maneuvering. So what exactly is the thing? Yeah.
I wrote the World War III book
Yeah.
to warn people that hey, it's probably going to come and it might come tonight.
Oh,
You might make wake up tomorrow with no electricity. So I
okay.
wrote a book about it, and that's my
Okay.
longest book and my first book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't find a good science fiction story to read, so I wrote my own, and it kept growing. So it
Okay.
finally grew into four books.
That's my thing,
uh,
Ancient Destiny. Yeah.
and when my wife died,
Mm-hmm.
I
I'm sorry to hear that.
always say I met her in a lightning storm. At the exact moment she died, uh, a single bolt of lightning, you didn't hear any thunder outside or anything. All of a sudden, a bolt of lightning hit the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The whole hospital shook like an earthquake, and all the lights went out with a boom of thunder. Even the
Okay.
emergency generator was totally destroyed where they couldn't be repaired.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
and so they had to go on battery power until they could get a truck mounted generator
mm-hmm.
out to provide power for the hospital. And
Okay.
fortunately, that was in Florida, and they had generators parked
Ah,
within 30 miles away in case of a hurricane.
okay. 30
So they
miles
had
away. Yeah.
so they had generators and fuel trucks and so forth
Uh,
ready to go in case of a hurricane. So
uh-huh.
they drove them out. They drove one of those big generators mounted on an 18-wheeler truck,
Uh-huh.
along with an 18-wheeler fuel truck, and they drove it out to the hospital and hooked it up
That's good.
uh, to provide power. So uh, on her tombstones, headstones, whatever you want to call them, uh, she has three. She's in the National Cemetery in Fort Smith.
Okay.
But I put a headstone in the uh, uh, my parents' cemetery
Mm-hmm.
and one next to her parents out in the country in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those headstones have two bolts of lightning on the backside.
Okay.
So lightning and thunder. And then almost a year from when she died, I wrote Lightning and Thunder, the book,
Okay.
about all the miracles in my life and, well, our lives.
Yes.
So, and
This
that
is
book seems,
the
everybody seems to love it. It's been translated into Japanese, Spanish, and French so far.
now the beautiful part of this story is that like audience would love it. I recommend everyone to not only support Mr. Albert, but obviously once you go through, you see and experience how a military guy, like people world forgets, military have hearts, military have sympathies, military make love. And whatever the difference is, whatever the doubts you have stored against the people, our soldiers who served in Afghanistan, Iraq war, other thing, now after lightning and thunder, they will realize that yes, after all, soldiers are also human. They also have a heart. They also make love. So this is the beautiful story, and everybody must read it to bring change. And yes, men can never be violent. He will always be a responsible person. And Sir Albert has dedicated all his life to his wife, and now once she is actually at the different zone right now. She is not a part of this world anymore. Now, Sir has served the humanity with a beautiful gesture, which he treasured down, keep all the treasure and distributed it among the humanity. So, lightning and thunder is the beautiful story. Yes, sir. Please, here you say.
Well, I wrote it with the idea that maybe I would change people's opinion, that people don't even understand love.
Exactly.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I love sausage and gravy over biscuits for breakfast, but that's not quite the same as love between two people.
Exactly.
Uh, every time I see a pretty girl, I say, gee, I'd love to be with her. Well, no, I wouldn't, not really, because I don't know the personality. I don't know what she believes. I don't know what bad habits she may have.
Exactly.
I don't know her. But I
Exactly.
know my wife, so when I see this beautiful girl, I say, she's not my wife. And therefore I've become sort of a monk.
Yeah, kind of a monk, not 100%. Come on, sir, you are still young and energetic.
Well, I'm pretty energetic for my age, but uh, I just don't. Nothing tempts me.
Sure. So we are going on a short break. We will be coming up live in a bit, right? And we are going in a short commercial break, and then we will be taking it from there. Okay. So